First round Big 12 tournament matchup. We have the Colorado Buffaloes taking on the TCU Horned Frogs. I am shaped like Eddie Lampkin, and I'm here with my guy Subi. I mean, I can't talk TCU even and not show love to former Horned Frog legend Eddie Lampkin. But an interesting matchup in this game. TCU has some good wins on the year. I've watched Colorado a couple times this year. Obviously in Maui, they had the win over UConn. Latest game I actually watched of theirs, they had a really good matchup with Houston at home. I thought they had chances to win that game. Have some intriguing pieces. Haven't necessarily had the greatest year. There's been questions about Tad Boyle and maybe his future with Colorado with him getting up there in years. But I'll hand it over to you first, Subi. What are your initial thoughts of this game and this Colorado TCU matchup?
God, this is the Eddie Lampkin custody battle, by the way. You mentioned his time at TCU. He
I
was also
forgot
at,
he went to Colorado too. You're right.
that's right. And every single time I see him, I see a big boy like, I don't know, DJ Burns from last year. I just, that video, like big
Oh,
boy
oh.
grilling on the roof. Like he's a big boy grilling on the roof, man. I don't know, Syracuse, whatever. It's just been a bad year for the Buffs. Man, it has been a bad year. Only 3 conference wins, but alas, 33% of that came against these Horned Frogs. But it has not been a good year there in Boulder. When I look at this matchup, right, I trust TCU a little bit more because I've seen the TCU flash. There was, albeit maybe like a week, where you're like, could they sneak onto the bubble? I've
Mhm.
seen flashes of brilliance from Jamie Dixon's squad. Look, they've beat Xavier. All right. They beat BYU. They beat Baylor. They beat Texas Tech. That's their best win of the season. Xavier, BYU, Baylor, Tech are 4 tournament teams, at least for sure 3. I just haven't seen that with Colorado. Yeah, you go all the way back to Maui, sure, but that's a long, long time ago. And man, what a difference a year makes. Look, this is a team that, and we've been referencing that with Kevin Keats and NC State Final Four to no longer there, but also Colorado beat Florida, by the way. And look at where Florida is in the tournament. Look at where Florida is now. Look at where Colorado is. But as it relates to this game, I mentioned in tight games, man, like free throws matter to me. And TCU is one of the worst free throw shooting teams in the entire country. They're not really trending in the right direction, having lost 2 straight. But Colorado, just by and large, especially in the Big 12, has not shown me enough. It's kind of a throwaway year. Last thing I'll bring up before I kick it back to you, you mentioned Tad Boyle's potential future. He's in a very cushy spot, man. Like Colorado basketball is not a thing. They are not a basketball school. You got Coach Prime, who's drawing all the headlines, rightfully so. And Tad Boyle's done a good job. Like, I think he's maxed out what you can do with Colorado basketball. He
Mhm.
should be able to leave on his own terms. He ain't going anywhere unless Tad Boyle wants to go anywhere. And if you want to fire him and then probably toil with the likes of like the worst Big 12 teams, feel free. I think you're just going to have to deal with like some down years here and there. For the good years last year, right? Like KJ Simpson was awesome. So I don't see Tad Boyle going anywhere unless he wants to do it. But what's your take on this game?
Yeah, I just think respectfully to Colorado's team because I think they play hard, right? I think they're not a good basketball team, but like I'm not sure how to put this. It's not their fault. They just don't really have Big 12 horses. Like they don't have the guys to go. Like they get Elijah Malone from the lower level, good player. Trevor Baskin was like a non-Division One guy. They also brought in. They just don't really have the guys to go on this team. And I've seen the flashes from TCU, like you said, but it's been, they had the flashes, but then like this offense is just god awful in the 200s on Ken Palm. You do look at some of the things that Colorado can do offensively, they're not much better, but in conference play, they're one of the better teams from 2-point range in the conference. They also make their free throws as well, but I'm gonna go ahead and skip to the portion where we do make the prediction on this part. I am going to buy the flashes of TCU in this spot. I'm going to buy that the moments that I've seen from TCU have happened more so than the moments that I've seen from Colorado. And I'm not a bracketologist. I could never be one. I'd be a terrible one. Why do I feel like there's some reason where like TCU could just like reel off some wins here and actually like find their way into like Dayton? Probably not, but they have more of a shot than Colorado in this spot. So I'll take the ceiling of TCU in this game. Before I do kick it to you, Subi, I will say that TCU is favored by a point in this game. So basically pick them in this one.
Yeah, and I think that's fair, but like, there's just not enough evidence, Cart, for me to take Colorado. I guess in a head-to-head matchup, right? But overall, I do think the reports of Jamie Dixon's coaching ability have been greatly exaggerated. Like I'm telling you, he's still good for some really good wins. And I actually think he's done a nice job with this TCU roster this season. So, I mean, you want to talk about offensive playmakers, like it hasn't been there. He lost Micah Peavy, right? Who's doing amazing things for Georgetown in the Big East. So I think Jamie Dixon finds a way to cobble together a win here against Colorado. I don't think I've seen enough. Three conference wins, I don't think is enough for me to take you in this spot. So I'm going to take the Horned Frogs here, 64-60. It's going to be a close game, an ugly game. Here's what I will say: the Frogs got to limit Julian Hammond. All right,
Mhm.
Julian Hammond kind of went off the last time they played, but all in all, man, I just haven't seen enough from the Buffaloes this season.
Yeah. Also, eyes on the Big 12. Why are we just getting a lot of repeat matchups? Colorado beat TCU on Saturday by a score of 76-56. So I missed that game. Not sure what happened in that, but I'm gonna go ahead and just feel safe about taking the team that has won 9 conference games over the team that just picked up their third conference win. And I think I'll feel pretty good about being on that side despite the result. But whatever the result might be, we'll be back here on Sleepers Media YouTube channel to recap that game. For Subi, for Carter, we will catch y'all next time.